Hello and welcome back to the channel where we are building a video game from scratch using Love2d and Lua. I think we're going to be working on probably not so much code tonight. We're trying to find the balance for rendering our Gecko, because our Gecko can have a splashed state like this where he's flashing blue. Our Gecko can also have a cleansed state, which is him being orange, and it can also have a hit state, which is like as soon as we hit him with this collision, he should flash red and then go into flashing blue. Now the issue is we've been doing this with the Love.graphics set color on top of a purple corrupted sprite. So how Love2d is kind of working is you choose a color before you render. So most things we are rendering is set to white, and then that will let the full color and full opacity come through. But we get this error when we try to say, let's flash the Gecko red, or flash the Gecko blue when he's splashed, right? But we can't go any brighter blue than the purple that is the sprite itself. So what we're working on is making a grayscale Gecko and then doing a Love.graphics set color of purple or of blue or of red, so that we can have full control over the dynamic brightness, so that we're not tethered to the same kind of we're maxed out on the brightness with this purple, because if we draw it at pure white, it's still a dark purple. So if we try to tint it blue, it's going to be a dark blue. We can't brighten it up even if we wanted to. So that's why we're going to be trying to do like a grayscale Gecko, so that we can tint it whatever color we might want. So what would that look like? It would probably be pretty simple. We need to find our Gecko atlas, right? Gecko atlas. We have a Gecko atlas right here. I guess it's kind of interesting that we didn't just do the rotation for it, but I wonder what the reason was for that. Anyway, we can do a Shift R to shift the color, right? So let's take the bright gray or bright orange, and we just want to desaturate it. So if we go to the hue saturation, we can desaturate it, which should give us the proper luminance values. So let's go ahead and apply that, and then we'll also desaturate the dark here, and then that gives us a grayscale Gecko, which kind of looks kind of cool on here. Okay, so if this is our Gecko template, we won't need two atlases for the Gecko corrupted or Gecko cleansed. We just need to control it when we render. We need to say, what state are we in? If we're cleansed, give us the orange. If we're corrupted, give us the purple. If we're splashed, give us the blue. If we're damaged, give us the red. And then we just tint it. And this is the idea, right? This is just theory. I haven't tried to do this exactly just yet. So part of me wants to, I guess we can save this as a corrupted Gecko, because that's how we're currently rendering them. So let's go save it as Gecko corrupt atlas. So we will save it as that. We will overwrite it. It's fine. We're tracking it in Git. Not a big deal. So now let's see. Let's load the game with the new grayscale Geckos, and we'll probably turn off these circles too. So the grayscale Gecko looks great, right? Let's turn off these circles. So we have these collision renders. Where do we do it? In the play state? No, collision. Circle collision. We have it in the entity, in the play state. Where are we actually rendering it though? Oh no. Right here. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Well, this is fine. Okay, is that the only difference? We're in a read-only mode for some reason. Let's do this circle collision. What is going on with the rendering here, man? Okay, let's just make sure we didn't screw up our... Let's see, I'm doing a git diff, just making sure. Okay, well, it's looking right. Hey, Average Gamer, hey, thank you for the follow. We're trying to render our gecko different colors here. Here we go. Okay, so now we have a grayscale gecko. So now let's just try to test if we can get both an orange and a corrupted gecko from this grayscale version, and that'll work as like the proof of concept for if we can change the, you know, change the colors via the grayscale template. There's probably a different way Lua can handle this, but no, I think this is fine to try. So before we render the geckos, right here, we're doing a gecko set color white. So we can either define the colors here. White gives us the pure sprite, right? No alteration to the red, green, or blue channel, and full opacity. So if we wanted to put a different color, like we want to see what flashing red might look like, we can say give us a red of 1, 0 on the green and blue, full opacity, so we set color there instead of the grayscale. So we should have a red gecko now. Okay, this is great. And it looks like this set color is also changing the particle system. That's okay. So if that's the damage flash red, that was much brighter than we could get with the purple. So let's try, and maybe the move is if we come over to Asprite here and we kind of do like a color picker, we can kind of get that purple color we wanted, and we can see what value it is on the RGB. And we can see 126.0192. So let's try that. 126.0192. So 126. We have to do it out of 8-bit color, which is out of 255 values. 0. And I already forgot the third one. Where did my A sprite go? $192. Okay. And 0 on the green channel. Okay, so this should be a purple gecko, kind of like how we started with our purple gecko. Okay, great. I guess one drawback of this. Well, yeah, one drawback is even though it... Okay, so the drawback is that the color scheme is only tinted, right? Before we could have a different shade, a different intensity for the, you know, for the darker part of the gecko. We took out all chroma value and just kept the luminance channel, which means it looks, you know, the contrast is the same because we keep the luminance, but the different colors are just a tint of the same color. So that's the downside of this system. But it makes it able, you know, makes us able to kind of tint it whatever we want. If we wanted, you know, if this is corrupt and this is cleansed, we can put an orange tint on it and see if we can kind of match the original orange. So this looks like 38,183. Okay, so it should be orange here. Oh, it looks green. We must have screwed up some values. $38,183. Okay, no, we are... Oh, we kind of... I think it's because we... Does that matter? How could that matter if we set the color twice? No, it's all green. Okay, let's double check. Oh, that's the H. That's the hue saturation. Okay, so it should be 198, 129, 12. Okay, so this should be our orange gecko. Nice. Actually, that looks very close to the original. Should be a bit brighter. Man, that looks really close. I don't know, mate. I think this idea can work. Let's try this. 235, 152, 11. Okay. Come on, orange gecko. Oh, perfect. Okay, so if that's our cleansed gecko. Okay, then we need our splashed gecko, which is going to be blue. I think we have a set color for the splash particle already. So let's see. Yeah, we do have a splash particle. Oh, we already set it. It's very simple. It's just 100 on the blue channel. So let's try that. We probably Oh, actually, hold on a second, because the splash particle fades. Okay. Let's make a custom one here real quick. Okay, so if we want a blue tint on the guy, it can be something like this. For 109, 255. Okay, so this is a test for the splash gecko. It's too bright. It's too bright. For sure. But if this is flashing, right, it should look... This gives us much more control over the luminance of it when he's flashing. So now you can kind of see him flashing a very slight different purple. But that's rendering a blue color on top of the blue. So like it's a slightly different blue. But once we rehaul this, if we're just corrupted, we're going to do the purple. And then blue flashing will be blue instead of purple render. So it should be very distinct now. Instead of blue on top of purple, it'll be blue instead of purple. And we can add in back as much purple tint to make it less of a jarring flash. But this gives us so much control. We can't do this with Tashio because he's made up of multiple different colors, right? He's got red hair, brown suit. So we can't do the damage flash with that, but that's okay because the red, just tinting red over it works well for that. But something like our entities, we might have to kind of do, at least in this testing stage, keep them in grayscale so that we can handle the renders for the different, you know, because the alternative is to make other sprites, right? We can make a sprite version of each one and we have a corresponding corrupted one, like we have right now, where we have a corrupted atlas and we have a cleansed atlas, orange and purple. But we don't want to have to do that for every single, you know, if there's 12 entities in the game, we are going to make, you know what, 30 different color scheme for each atlas, or for the atlases total. So I think this is okay. Let's try our damage splash, or damage flash. And we're just gonna jack up the red and very little on the other channels. Just see what our damage flash should be red. Nice. See, so something like that's perfect. One thing that's messing up is the particle system. It should be rendered outside of the entity. We do a particle system draw after. And you know what? We set the color. This is a little concerning. This is in the entity render. We're saying, let's go ahead and change the color to whatever one, for example, damage. But then we're going to render the particle system here with that same color. We want to render the entity and then render the particle system with a special color. Anyway, so I don't see where we're, oh, here it is. See, we're rendering the state machine right here. So whether we're in the walk state or the idle state or the flee state, we're rendering that here. So what I'm going to do is just move this stuff. For right now, I want to say, let's just render the, we render the particle system underneath the gecko. So let's do a graphics set color to white here. So we set it to white, we render the particle system, so we have a particle system color assigned already, which is purple. So setting it to white makes it purple. That's all I'm trying to say. Oh my goodness, look at us go. So this is in the entity class, and we are an entity, and the gecko's an entity, so that's why we got rendered red as well. So see, this is kind of what I was talking about, how like we can't do it with Tashio because it's just a tint. We're tinting all of us purple. And you can see the loot is actually not part of the entity, which is kind of cool, which means if we had the tunic, it would render perfect color as well, because same with the element in our hand. So we only want to do this, we only want to tint it red here if we are, and we could do this. We could say if we're a gecko, and maybe what we do is we do put this, this is for the particle system. I don't know, I'm kind of thinking, I feel like if we take this particle system out, it'll mess some stuff up. Let's try to put the particle system outside of the entity check, and to put the particle system outside the entity check. We set the color, so let's set the color here for the particle system. But then when we go to render the state machine, that's when we need our gecko specific tint for whatever it is. So we only want to tint it red, not if we're Tashio, but if we're a type of gecko. And then we want to render it red. So that's what we're going to try. And I'm curious if the set color here before the particle system render, where did that go? That just deleted. Yeah, where did our particle system render go? Okay, we render our particle system here. Right here. We set it to white, we render it. Then only if we're a gecko do we go ahead and change this damage. .465, bad argument 1. Oh, we can't draw the particle system. Bad argument 1. Okay, so it looks like not all of our entities have an initialized particle system, which not all of them have a particle system, so I guess we only want to render this if we are a type of gecko. So we can sandwich it in there for now. Okay, well, we're red again. Because we're setting this color. Okay, so we need to set... This is what makes us red. But it should only be doing it here if we're a type of gecko. So why would we be tinted red when we're not a type of gecko? See, we knew about this issue. I mean, we commented this. If the type has a particle system, then go ahead and do this stuff. But this isn't right. Setting the particle system is one thing. Let's see if our purple particles are back. We don't do the tint. Okay, well, now I'm confused. Why are we rendered red? Okay, I'm gonna try something real quick. No, I was thinking we just get stash our changes and just copy over our color flicker, but that's not a good idea. It's right there. We do a set color right here on line 480. Huh. Not seeing it now. It's right here, right before the self-type Gecko, which is... Okay, so this is it right there. Okay, so that's what was screwing us up. Okay, so now we're going to get rid of this. We're going to try to... Okay, so what we're doing is... Yeah, if our entity is a Gecko, we're going to say, go ahead, render our particle system normal, which should be purple. Then we're going to say, well, if we're in the pursue state or whatever, go ahead and change it to red, which is a test for the damage flash. And then we're going to render the state machine like normal, which this is in our entity class, so I'm just hoping Tashio doesn't come out red. Okay, so he's normal, and then the Gecko should be red. Great. And then the particles should be purple. Good. Yeah, they actually kind of look red. They kind of look red. They might be rendering... Well, Okay, and you know what? Yeah, we should do a cooldown for the distance switching, because the Gecko flipping out like that probably wasn't the greatest move. Okay. It does look purple. It really does look purple. Okay, so I think the purple is good. And I guess we can kind of try to verify that if we... Let's just change to blue, for example, and see if it tints blue. Okay, so there's blue. No, yeah, purple particles. Okay, so that's great. Okay. Let's see our orange. Orange is good. Orange can be a bit brighter. I'm not too worried about nailing the colors. And also, our particle system is being rendered. Okay, so I think we do a fade for the particle system upon cleanse, right? So we fade to transparent over time, and now we're kind of manually setting it here in the entity update, which is why the particle system's no longer fading. We can fix that. I don't know if we can fix that tonight, but I'm kind of curious, is that because we set the color here? If we don't set the color for the particle system, we let the particle system itself handle that. Should handle the fades okay. Okay, that did not fix it. Okay, that's okay. We will definitely address that. Let's actually, I do want to see. We changed very little. We just moved the particle system into right before our state machine. Okay. Okay. This isn't bad. So I think the last thing we want to do, at least for tonight's stream, is just get these colors into our constants. So into our, do we not have, oh yeah, we do. Okay, so we have all these colors. So we're just gonna do corrupt Gecko color. Just set all these colors here. Splashed Gecko color. Okay. Okay. Let's try this. Corrupt. I'm gonna yank what's inside the parentheses. Splashed and damaged. Okay. Sure, there's a better way to do this. See, the autocomplete is screwing me over there. Okay. So those are our set colors. We're gonna tweak them a bit, but for now we can put them here in the entity just as a set color with this. Okay, this is okay. So cleansed, splashed, damaged. Okay. We really did this the hardest way imaginable. Cleansed. Gecko color. Okay. So now we have it just set by the variables we have, saving those colors. Okay, so this is okay. The next step will be to handle it in the state machine and then debug the particle system, which I do not have the energy for. I had a 12-hour workday today, but I'm glad I got to stream. And we made a proof of concept for the alpha channel, or for the desaturated master atlas for entities, which I think is a good way to go. It gives us more control over the brightness and tint of the colors, and it allows multiple different colors to be used with a singular atlas. So I think it's very useful for us. So we will commit this and say add Grayscale Gecko for colored tinting. Okay, so we will call it a night. I know it's a short stream, but I had a big work day and I have to get to bed. Thanks for watching, y'all. We'll raid out before we crash, and call it a night. Let's raid out to, I don't know. We're crashed anyway, so doesn't matter. Thanks for watching, y'all. I'll be back tomorrow.